The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Boundless PodTrap movie review and the guys of the BPT. What you are about to hear contains spoilers to movies. If you don't want to hear these spoilers, please disengage your listening device at this time. If you can't handle those with a possible differing view on a movie, you may also want to disengage your listening device at this time. Stay tuned for a movie review that only the guys at the Boundless PodTrap can give you.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Boundless PodTrap movie review. We missed you. We're finally back in studio. In a new studio. Beautiful two-car garage. We call the studio is no more. We're in an actual building, boys.
We are.
We got a pool table. We got a ping pong table. We got a room for Legos.
We got a mixer lounge. We've got a living room area. We've got
Lego.
We got a
room.
We got a masseuse.
We've got everything in this building.
Therapists for your emotional needs.
Well, yeah.
We got somebody who
She moved out after listening.
I was going to say
to
she's
us.
got to be on the clock 24/7. If
professional cuddler
yeah.
I get it. That's an unemployed reference.
from a movie.
It is. And this is a movie review podcast.
Face toucher.
But most importantly, we have you, the listener or listeners.
Yep. So nice. We got to hear it twice.
Love it.
That's good to be back. I missed this.
I do too. This is good. I wondered how it was going to work out here, and I think it's going to work out pretty darn good.
Yeah, we're so far away from each other. We went from sitting at a small little round table to
Something more
Now we're-
professional looking.
Yeah.
now we're at desks away from each other.
I have a desktop computer at my.
Now you're just bragging.
Yeah.
Well, Lonnie has one too. He just doesn't know the code to get it.
I just
He's
don't know.
locked
So
out.
I got an iPhone and a notebook.
He's got a camera that follows him.
Yeah.
And Justin's got like a desk on wheels.
Nice.
It's crazy.
It
We'll
makes
have
me go.
We took a picture before recording tonight. We'll have to post that on the page so
Yeah.
people can see at least the orange wall and
The beautiful
our accent wall with our
Whiteboard?
our marker board on it.
yeah.
Voice. I love it.
And sticky notes of an upcoming longy movie. I don't know what we're going to call a full-length shorty movie.
Not so
Short
sure.
Not
film.
so shorty.
Not So Shorty. Maybe that's what I should change the name of my dick to. Not So Shorty.
Then you'd just be lying.
I know.
Oh.
I'm good at it, though.
Being not so short or lying.
Lying.
Oh, okay. And not so short.
Well, I am pretty short. But anyway, we did something a little bit unique for this episode. I picked a movie that none of the three of us have ever seen. I just went on Rotten Tomatoes and went to the 100% movies and grabbed one. So we watched The Evil Within.
The Evil Within.
Thank you.
That was 2017 when that came out.
Yeah.
I, for some reason, thought this was like one like back in the 90s.
Well, it kind of had that feel. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
kind of
did.
had that pacing of like a 90s suspenseful horror movie. But quick synopsis on it. The sadistic tale of a lonely, mentally handicapped boy who befriends his reflection in an antique mirror. The demonic creature orders him to go on a murderous rampage to kill the people he loves the most. Yeah.
That's big, short and sweet. That's what this movie was.
Yeah.
Was that your own or was that
IMDb's.
All right.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Stars Matthew Berryman, horror icon.
Michael.
No, Matthew, his brother. No, of course it's Michael, and then can't read. Matthew McGrory, I think is how last name's pronounced. And then Frederick Koehler, or Koehler. I think that's the best way. Koehler.
Sound it
Kohler.
out.
And this is one of his only speaking roles, which I was surprised at.
Really?
Wasn't
Yeah.
he in Big Fish? That guy? No. Who's the guy in Big Fish? The giant.
And then Sean Patrick Flannery, while he's looking that up.
He flat out ignored you. So
No, you were looking it up, and I was
I'm
just trying
looking
to keep the pace going.
I'm looking up Frederick Koehler.
He was in Oz.
He,
Like, that's what I know him from.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Holy buckets.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness.
He's
he
one of
started
those-
in 1981?
I was going to say,
like,
he's one of those guys
2?
who's like in his mid-40s, but he looks like he's a teenager.
Definitely. He was in All My Children, Law and Order, Ally McBeal. Let's get to some movies here. No, that's the TV series. Malcolm in the Middle. Man, he's been in a lot of TV shows.
Right.
Domino.
The movie?
Yes.
So, like Marvel?
Death Race. The Mentalist. Lost.
Really?
Death Race 2. Law and Order LA. Grimm. Criminal Minds.
He did an awesome portrayal in this. He was very believable. I thought so anyways.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, what do you fellas think? Let's hear some of your thoughts. Let's hear your personal
Our
reviews of
rating
it.
of
Yeah,
it?
your ratings on it.
So, definitely an interesting. Like I said, looking at the poster of this, I thought this was something from like the 90s, and then I watched the trailer to it. Trailer really didn't grab my attention. When I started the movie, the opening scene of this, I was just like, I don't know about this. But once the movie got going pretty quickly, I think that Frederick Koehler played an amazing role. I think there's a lot of him split person. His obviously his reflection is it's not really him, but it's a reflection of him. It's an evil version, normal version.
That's Matthew. That's Matthew McCory.
No, that's Frederick.
That's Frederick. Matthew McCory is the giant that's in The Devil's Rejects and.
Are you sure?
House-
You got it pulled up there in front of you.
$1,000. Frederick
Koehler
Koehler
is the
Dennis.
lead.
Then I got them two mixed up. Sorry.
So yeah, Matthew McCory.
Stay in
My
your
bad.
corner.
My bad.
Stay in your corner.
My bad.
So, but
So I don't have a computer. I just have it written down on a piece of paper.
We don't let him have computer privileges since last time.
Cut that out.
I think that Frederick did an amazing job and a believable job, especially when he was having conversations with himself in the mirror. It was very believable. And then it was just, I thought the movie was very well written. It was one of those easy plots that was easy to follow. They didn't try to throw too much crazy stuff in it. I really enjoyed the movie. And this is probably, the rating I'm going to give it is probably my second highest rating I've ever given it. I'm giving it 9.5.
Jeez.
Because that 0.5, I didn't like the beginning of the
You
opening
didn't like
scene.
the dialogue?
No,
I
I thought that it could have been a little bit something a little different, but that's the only reason why I did not get a 10 in my eyes.
To bounce off of that, I did like the opening because I think it wrapped it at the very end pretty well. It gave a nice intro. What I really liked about it, because it did remind me of a comic book that I used to read, which is called The Dreaming, which comes from the Sandman series, and it showed like the lady with was this his mom or something, or supposed to be his mom at this little dream sequence at the carnival, and the mom had like mouths for eyes.
That part was cool.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Corinthian character in The Dreaming, and I love that whole. It's a mind fuck sort of a comic story, but yeah, they used a lot of practical effects. The story wasn't too out there, but they did play with some very interesting practical illusions as well, like the use of mirrors and colors. And what I knew about like the background of this, the director, like it took him 15, 16, 17 years, I guess, to make this.
Right. It was his
Yeah.
one and only film
Yeah.
he ever did. He unfortunately passed away shortly after making this
2
film.
years 2 years before its release, he was passed. It was like, fuck, dude didn't get to see his own work. But I thought it was amazing. Few things that could have used some work, but I would rank it up there at an 8.5.
Yeah, this film, I got a love-hate relationship with this film. I have two small complaints about this film. Other than that, I think this film was almost great, almost perfect. I instantly have to take a half a point away because I think Frederick Koehler, I think he went a little too hard R with his acting. I think it could have been pulled back a little bit more.
Remote?
With his mentally handicapped acting. I think he did it very, very well. But I think in some of the scenes, almost seemed a little overacted. Like, I think he could have toned it back just a little. But some of the best mentally handicapped acted scenes from, like, Billy Bob Thornton in Sling Blade or Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump,
Brad Pitt. And
Leonardo DiCaprio
and anything.
eating Gilbert Grape.
There's that certain level you can hit and it's great. You just stay there. And any more than that perfect level is kind of, well, maybe that was a tad too much. And there was a couple moments in his acting that were just maybe an 11 where a 10 would have been sufficeable. Like his actions, he didn't need to hold his hands in the hooked position.
I think
it's just not necessary when the majority of it was off screen and it would zoom out and you could see his hands in the hooked position.
The physical.
It's not necessary.
I thought it was.
It's good.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, when it's off screen, it's not necessary. It could be him getting into character and staying in character. But it's just, I just felt it was a little unnecessary.
I thought he was pretty believable because there was a small
he's
part. There was a
absolutely
small
believable.
part of me where I was just like, man, is this guy really?
Yeah,
like,
double check it. Yeah, until he switched into like a normal voice, but his voice was the narrator voice as well.
Right. Yeah.
I think when it comes to acting, like I'm totally fine with that as long as it's not being
Disrespectful.
Yeah, it's very tasteful. Like he's doing it for the character that was created for this, and it's
Right.
like, dude, like you locked it down.
Right. And like I said, fantastic portrayal. The ending was a little meh for me.
It was very fast.
For a movie that was paced so well to have such a fast ending, I don't know if it was a budgetary issue. They couldn't afford to have a slower ending, or maybe it was the guy who wrote it and directed it. He just ran out of ideas.
I think it works with the theme that it finally reveals at the very end as well.
Right.
We'll get into that too.
And it almost felt a little too actiony, which some of those movies tend to be. Like any movie that involves the police at the end tends to feel a little too actiony. Like when something's so supernatural and then they try to bring a police element into it, it's like you lose the supernatural and then it turns into like a man versus beast almost thing. But with those little things being said, I love this movie. Like I was shocked how much I actually liked this movie. I give it a solid 9.
So 9.
Boom. That gives us a BPT rating of 9. Right on.
Great.
That's second, third highest ranked movie that we've done.
And
That is
just randomly picked one.
Let's
It's
see.
a good one.
That is the second. Yep.
And I'm in the kind of between you two on basically like narration monologue at the beginning. I think it was necessary to be in there, but I think it could have been done a little bit more ethereal, if that makes sense. Like make it more magical if it's a dream sequence, make it like more dreamy. Like the only thing that made it feel dreamy was the mother's face with the mouth, the eyes in the mouth. Like that was the only part of that scene that made it feel like a dream.
I think he just used too many big words in that opening monologue of it. Like I just stuff he was saying, I'm just like, well, that could just talk to us like a
It
dumb
could sit
person.
out of the way.
Well, and
Like-
that's kind of, that was part of his character though. And he brought that up multiple times when he's like, his brother used big words and he could not talk back to him because he knew these big words. And he said that multiple times through the movie. So I think it was kind of a character development. It was his mind because he was smart, and then his brother damaged him. So he used to be able to use big words, and you were supposed to come full circle that at the end he was able to use big words again when it was taken over. So like I think that's why there were so many, the dialogue at the beginning was so sophisticated, is because in the beginning he was very smart. He was able to do
He was a
these
prodigy,
things.
and using the very finished, polished monologue at the very beginning, and then he prefaces like, "This is the only." Oh, I don't know if he said like the only
Said
time,
something
but
like I sound
in real life,
better,
like
yeah.
I in my head I sound much better than in real life, and so the way he talks to himself in his head, at least in the opening, prefaces the. Do you want to call it a genius? Like he is a prodigy genius prior, but now he's like a mad genius, at least inside. At least the reflection, the little thing that's trapped inside him that once has this resentment towards his brother, and it finally takes a hold of him. It wraps around his brain. Is it the mirror? Is he finally seeing what is an actual reflection? Is it just something that's kind of finally slipping, neurons finally connecting and correcting with the negativity that kind of produced since way back?
There's a line, and let me pull it up here, and it kind of touches on that a little bit here. Let me find it here. That he says in the movie, like, about his brain to him. It's in the quote section.
While you're pulling that up, I could not stand that counselor. She was,
yeah. Or the Social Security.
yeah, the social worker.
The lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was creepy looking. One thing I will say, the actress Brianna Brown is beautiful.
You would say that.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
So the line in the movie, after Dennis has killed a couple people, and he kills someone in the bathroom, he says the line, "You didn't talk me into that one. I just did it, and I don't know why." So he goes from his darkness, starting out killing animals, cats and dogs, and then he kills a child, and then he starts killing people, and then he randomly kills a guy in the bathroom, and he was not told to do it. He just randomly does it, and it's like that fixation, that need, because the darkness is telling him he's going to be normal. If he keeps doing this, he's going to be normal. And the movie has this quality of looking at it from like a medical point of view, where someone who has that want to be better and want to be normal is going to grasp at every straw and every ring of this potential is going to get me back to being normal. And it was just, there were certain lines in this movie that were so beautiful and so almost eerily poetic from a movie that you wouldn't expect this type of movie to have those lines. They just hit your heart and hit your soul and just grabbed you, and that was one of those lines.
That bathroom kill is one of my favorite ones.
Where it just walks in.
So fucking unexpected.
Yeah, it just walks in and stabs him for no reason, no purpose, just to kill him.
And it kind of, it's one of those kills where it's just like, it wasn't graphic. I mean, there's a few blood splatters on the camera, but it messed with me when I watched it. And I actually watched that scene a couple of times because it's just, you put yourself in the person's shoes that's in the stall. It's like somebody at a restaurant like where they were at did not expect something like that and then just to fucking open the window and dump the body out. It's like, what the fuck?
I think one of the weirdest ones was like at the ice cream shop. I'm like, there's a little mentally challenged little ninja popping out of the cabinet.
Right.
Like he does like a little swing flip.
There's a supernatural moment in the ice cream shop moment. Like, how does the sink turn on? You clearly can see there's no one around the sink.
There's a few, just his movements of springing, which also kind of plays more into the ending.
Right.
It's like he's little Spider-Man.
Right.
The restaurant that they go to, I don't know why, but I love that song that was playing when he goes in there and that creepy animatronic. Like I've been trying to find that song and I can't find it anywhere,
right.
But it was just, it fit perfectly. And I don't know. I think
that was a good explanation when Sean Patrick Flannery is like explaining like
the animatronics,
yeah,
how it lifts the arms.
Yeah, and he's like, it's just, it was very straight to the point, and normally like, or I guess even using the visuals with like the paper plate and stuff, and like he's kind of teaching him how to entrap himself.
Well, and then at the end, he uses that with all the dead bodies.
The thing is like what Sean Patrick Flannery's character, when one of his very first introductions into the film, he's sitting on like a red couch, and red is usually going to be like symbolizing the danger, and he has like a sense of danger in his own comfortability. He thinks this is his house. I believe at the very end, he sits in a red chair, and like red is kind of like the bullseye, the spot that you need to be at, or the target, and just taping them down, or not taping, but gluing them down. Yeah. It's like he's stuck in this trap, in this web, and there's all the animatronics with the wire works. There's that long spiel about being a spider. He had to become a spider, and they eat their own, so he's trying to kill his brother.
And this was, we talked about this a little bit in the intro, that the director, writer, Andrew Getty, this was his one and only film. And it took him 17 years to finish this. And it all came from nightmares he was having. So he was reaching into human experience.
Daddy, also the Son of Sam killings inspired him too.
Right, yeah. And unfortunately, he died, and it's not from a meth overdose, but from methamphetamine-related death. Something in his system gave out due to the methamphetamine consumption, which thankfully he was able to release this film and get noticed because of this film. But what he could have done after this film, I mean, we lost a great talent. But
yeah,
looking at the fucking what some of the visuals in this film were, but what his head had to be like to put this on paper, like living those nightmares again. Like, I can't understand what was going on in his head.
He has 1 credit on IMDb, and it's one hell of a credit to have.
Right.
I mean, that's...
yeah. The dream play in this was awesome. I think that was one of my favorite things with a lot of movies or pieces is like when they introduce dream play.
Right.
Because it could be anything at that point, and it's allowed to be. So you have to suppress the realism and go with it. And then you don't know which part is dream play and what not. And then when you're using like cerebral inefficiencies, he's mentally handicapped, so you don't even know which part of that. Like when he wakes up and he's like, how do I know, or like, what is a dream? A dream is something that you tell yourself. And
where he's trying that your 2 halves of your head are lying to, 1 half is lying to the other,
and he has enough logic to know the difference between it. But yeah, this movie was supposed to be titled The Storyteller originally, but I think I like The Evil Within better.
Yeah.
Although I don't like that it's so much of a fight with the video game.
Yeah, that was a great game. Yeah, but researching it was hard. Another one of those great lines in this movie, that life is a story. People think dreams are stories. They seem like stories, but they're not. It's a perfect example of how this movie flows, where the darkness that envelops him and making him do these things actually takes control of him, I guess, later in the film, with switching him with the darkness. It's a very, not a cop-out way, I guess, of saying it, but a great transition way of pulling himself into the mirror and taking the darkness out of the mirror to, like, build to that conflict. Yeah. Like, they did all they could do with Dustin being his handicapped self, but at this time...
Dennis,
sorry.
You are terrible with names on this one.
I'm terrible with names all the time.
I'm Jeremy.
Nice to meet you.
When Evil Dennis at this time has already broken the facade of being like an exact copy, he's speaking perfectly, he's acting perfectly. Shit's about to go down, where he exits the mirror and puts normal Dustin into the mirror.
Uh-huh. That's where I pulled off some points for, is I think it would have served me better if they used more transitions when he goes from mirror Dennis to regular Dennis. It's like he was doing the transitions on camera. I'm like, you could have used that so much better, because you're just watching his face just morph back and forth. Well, I don't know if you want to say morph, but he's purposely going into it.
Right.
But I think it would have been so much better if there was like some sort of glitch transition or something that, like, I liked one of the original ones where he's moving the mirror back and forth. So you're seeing the one on the floor and then the one on the, well, it would be the ceiling, but the reflection that's on the upwards. But that one was kind of cool. But at the very end, when he's doing all those without much change.
Right, in the bathroom mirror where
like, that could have been
face
better.
is turning and then,
But, like, the mirror maze room, that was another place that was really cool.
That'd
like,
be a bitch to film.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, it's like Enter the Dragon style, but it's on a lower budget. Yeah, if you saw the movie It, they did something like that, and you should check that one out, Jeremy.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I'll watch the original one all day.
They did this movie on like a $6 million budget was all.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, but the mirror maze room, that kind of also tacks on to the theme of like the whole spider thing. And I think going deeper with like the whole spider analogy, I mean, like what other things that have strings is like puppets and spiders. Right. Spiders are more being the one in control, and puppets are the one being controlled. And where he thinks he's the spider, he's actually the puppet. So at the very end, when the cops come in and he's using all these little animatronics to try to kill the people in front, like his brother and all this, and then he gets pulled out and put into a insane asylum. So he's back into the puppet persona.
What I think is crazy is this movie is not rated.
Yeah.
How is it not rated?
Because I don't think it ever had a theatrical release.
Even so, to have any kind of release, you have to have a rating, I thought. And I don't understand why it can't get a rating, because, I mean, it wasn't that graphic or anything.
gory,
but
I can see it getting a simple R.
Oh yeah, I pull up a picture of that creepy animatronic that's
The
singing.
singing monkey.
Yeah, the Pete character, I thought that dude was pretty funny. The one who had the other books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looked terrified when they came up, and they're like, "It's so good to see you." And he's like,
He looked like he shouldn't
too?
have been there, and like he just looked like a random person just sitting there in the background.
Like he's wearing like a fuck you shirt.
Yeah, the fuck you. You can
Yeah.
only see the CK and the Y. You're like, that shirt clearly says
When
fuck
he
you.
when Sean Patrick Flannery's character finally gets up and leaves, he's like, "Call the cops," and he's like, "I don't want to."
There's two things I remember him in. The first one was one of my favorite TV shows of all time, King of Queens. He played different characters on that show. But then I also loved him in Employee of the Month with Dane Cook and Jessica Simpson. Did you guys watch that one?
Yeah.
He was the manager of the store. He plays the same character no matter what film he's in. Even this one, he's kind of the same character as he was as the manager of Speedy Mart or whatever it was called. I also noticed the cops, the Sklar brothers, or
Sklar
whatever.
Brothers, yeah. They were popular comedians for a stretch.
They are.
there.
And what I think is weird, I don't know if you guys watch America's Got Talent, but they were on last week's show as stand-up comedians. I'm like, how the fuck are these guys? They've already made it. Why
Yeah,
are
I
they
know.
on this show?
It just shows how shitty Hollywood is right now.
I guess so.
They need a burner,
Yeah.
probably to increase their relevance as well.
I
This
think
is-
this movie had very beautiful cinematography.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
think
This is all made in the dude's mansion, the Andrew Getty's mansion. Like this is in his house. Well, other than the ice cream shop place and
Right.
the street scene, and
Oh, sorry. Finish your thought.
I was also going to say this is the second movie where a main character makes another person rather handicapped.
Yeah.
The other one was
Darkly Noon.
no, not the Killzone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
The brother here makes Dennis handicapped by
Punching him.
punching him.
Oh, gotcha.
And in Killzone,
Gotcha.
In Killzone, Donnie Yen's character makes one of his targets handicapped by punching him onto the car.
I mean,
See that review. That was a pretty good one.
There's really, like, when a movie is as good as this, there's not too much that I can say about it because
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
you-
one of those, you got to watch it.
it was very,
Artistic.
yeah. And I think, like I said, that Frederick was perfect for that role.
Yeah.
And his voice, I think, was unique and it fit the part very well to play a mentally handicapped person than a not so mentally handicapped person.
And it was such a flawless change.
Yeah.
Like when he would be speaking in the mirror, like it was such that flawless switch to another. And yeah, it was so smooth.
And I think Michael Berryman, I wonder how much they got him for because his role wasn't very significant.
It had maybe 10 minutes of the whole movie.
Yeah, I think
There was
they had him for like maybe 2 days filming, I'm assuming.
There was some. I want to say there was some issues with like a lot of the main cast. Koehler was one of the only ones who was there from the start, from day one. But I want to say Sean Patrick Flannery had some issues with him. I read an article that like he was trying to get out of it or drop off, or they were going to use another actor. But a few main actors, I guess, had some issues with Andrew Getty. But with Michael Berryman's character, I loved that effect that they use with like the infinity mirror where they take two mirrors and they place them against each other.
Yeah.
But then they totally did a little mind fuck with me when it shows him in one side and then he's like going through like doorways. I'm like, but the character of the main character, Dennis, moves out or tries to move out of the frame, but then he gets snatched. I'm like, what? Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah. Like you could kind of see it coming because the like difference in the forearms.
Right.
So you kind of like as a horror fan, you could kind of go, "Oh, there it is." But if you're not looking for it, you could see it coming. One of the things I loved about this movie, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, where it was just one of those preference choices, but like when they did their CG or their CGI, it was claymation.
Yeah.
Like, and I liked that. I liked the claymation over the standard special effects.
I count claymation as practical. So
All right.
Yeah, it's very practical, hard to do. I was wondering with Matthew McGrory, I was thinking this had to have been like one of his last films. It was his last film. I'm on his IMDb. This was the last thing he was credited for before he died. But before that, his last movie that he did was 2007. So there was 10 years between acting, which I think that's kind of, for somebody like him and his stature, I'm surprised that there was that big of a gap. I wonder, health reasons or whatever. But I've only known him from House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects.
Tiny, yeah, and
Big Fish.
Big Fishes. That's how I found out about him. But he had, like, there's two different ways you can go when you have the giantism or whatever it is. And it's hell on your body.
Well, yeah.
Like, just the misery that he had to go through. And,
Well, his voice, like how the fuck does your voice do that? That's just insane.
He's on speaker
I
all
mean,
the time.
it's something to do with their thyroids.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have done a documentary on him
Yeah.
before he passed away, followed him around, because a day in his life, good Lord, I can't even imagine.
Like I said, I think this is, I can't remember if he had any speaking lines in Big Fish or not, but this was one
of the main guys. in Big
Wait a
Fish.
second. He died in 2005.
How'd he make a movie in 2007? How'd he be in a movie in 2017?
He died August 9th, 2005. He had a movie come out in 2006 and 2007, which I get that post-production,
right.
but fucking 12 years later. So when did Andrew
I
Getty
thought we
start?
took a long time editing. Jesus Christ.
So how long has Andrew Getty been filming this?
Said it
'Cause
took him almost
He said
17
years, yeah.
he's
Andrew-
been filming it for 17 years or
Yeah.
planning it and took like
The whole
year?
filming
The whole
thing.
process
Yeah.
took him about 17
How the
years.
fuck is that possible? Because all the actors look exactly the same in it. I mean, if you look at Sean Patrick Flannery, he's in the scene with this
Oh, he doesn't age that fast.
with Matthew McRory, and he looks exactly the same in it. So how the fuck did they film it way back when? Is that why like even Frederick looks young in it? Like, did they film this back in 2005, 2006, whatever, and then it took them 12 years to edit it?
I mean,
It sounds like it would have had to.
Because there were some like antique things, like his cell phone was very old looking, like it was a slide up, like one of the first
brick?
like brick phones that slid up, yeah, and the QWERTY keyboard, and
Well, you guys keep talking. I'm going to do some research on this because now I'm interested.
he's in research.
If he
mode.
died in 2005, yeah, we would have to, because this was released, it was 17 years in the making.
Yep.
He died in 2015, the director, so he had 15 years, so he would have started in 2000. And I'm assuming that since a lot of the stuff was practical, he was behind the button, if you will,
right,
of, pulling the plug and stuff on everything. He made a lot of the stuff in his own house, in his mansion. I mean, the guy came from money, so...
oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right. Filming began in 2002, and the film was shot largely in Getty's own mansion. He also converted one of the rooms in his mansion into a post-production suite. He made his own unique camera rigs, built expensive sets, and with his FX team, he created elaborate animatronic robots, including an octopus that can play a drum kit. The production, however, would stop and start over many years as it was beset with funding issues and conflicts with the cast, including a lawsuit from a studio assistant. The cast and crew went through a number of changes, and according to Koehler, only he and Michael Berryman made it through to the changes. This was the final film featuring Matthew McRory, who appeared in an uncredited cameo from footage shot before his death in 2005. The health conditions of both McRory and Berryman, who has been ill for some years, have slowed down the production, and scripted scenes had to be replaced. Getty continued to work on the film for many years after the filming, creating his own special effects and trying to perfect the film. He died in 2015 before the film was finished, with the coloring and editing not completed. Producer Michael Luceri, who had also edited the film, finished the film.
It's Luceri.
That's, shut the fuck up. So that's crazy.
Yeah, in that time too, Sean Patrick Flannery released Boondock Saints 2,
Great movie.
Saw,
Ding
the
dong.
The Saw, Final Chapter, Devil's Carnival, Phantom. He was on Dexter. Like, he had a good run.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why
It was.
people probably thought he was being a dick. He's like, this low-budget film isn't putting money in my pocket when he's got fucking Boondock Saints 2 that is
Paying him.
bankrolling
Probably
him a
still
new
today,
addition
So
on his home.
for those of you that were giving me shit about The Shadow's Edge that we filmed in 2009 and it didn't get released till 2013, hey,
Suck it.
come on now. Yeah.
At
suck
least
it.
he didn't die.
Wow. I did not.
Well, all in all, I thought the movie was a great movie. I really liked the spider analogies, like even at the very end where the brother, what is Sean Patrick Flannery's name in that movie?
John?
John?
John.
Yeah. So when he's at the very end, when he comes back to the house and he's like following this string all the way down to the bottom, to the lair, to the center of the web, I really love the play with that. There's bigger themes at play, even in using like the themes of like reflections, symbology of what's on the other side of yourself. But great movie. I'm kind of surprised I had the lower ranking from you guys, but
I can't believe out of all the fucking movies we'd watched that this one has the least amount of theory in your eyes.
No kidding.
I
was expecting a lot.
I wanted to do a second watch with this. I must have got baked or something.
Yeah. I'm sure with garlic.
Hey, priorities.
No, that was definitely a good one. I enjoyed it. For things that I would change, I don't know. I guess I'd have to watch the beginning scene again, but I just feel like it could have been a little bit more simplistic.
The beginning scene did give me high hopes for something, but they never returned back to that sort of dream play.
Right.
But I mean, they did close it up with a totally different. It was twisted. I liked the twistedness.
Right.
I think all in all, I like the pace of the movie. I like it wasn't long drawn out death scenes. It was boom, quick, in your face.
Right.
He's talking about killing somebody. He kills them. It's done. But the ending could have been maybe a little bit differently. But I've seen a lot of worse endings. So
absolutely.
So I definitely there's not too much I would change about this movie.
Justin?
Like I said, with the transitioning from Dark Dennis to regular Dennis, I think that could have been fixed a little bit better. The budget wasn't necessarily there. I think they could have done more with Michael Berryman as well. Just that part where at the very beginning where that was a very unique thing where he's tacking the zipper up and then he's crawling into.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
And they didn't return to something like that. I mean, they did do the, if you want to call human centipede makeshift with like the spider limbs or the limbs of the humans coming into like spiders with the 3 faces. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eyes. Yeah. It was interesting. A fast close, but I mean, that's how it goes when you swat a spider. It's done in an instant. So
right.
I don't know if I would expect a bigger payoff. I don't think you should go into this with a huge payoff. It's like, yeah, it's a story. It's unique. It's not something that's out there. I mean, it might have, I don't know, there's any number of things that could have improved. Even though I don't want to say he didn't have a budget. The dude was a fucking millionaire.
Right. I mean,
something.
he put $6 million into a film that didn't get a theatrical release.
Yeah. I would assume he wanted to do way more than what he did.
Right.
But I mean, as an artist, you have to finally let it go. You have to just release it. It's like, dude, just stop. If you do anything else, it might just ruin the whole thing.
I mean, he was an artist with a terrible drug problem.
Yeah, sometimes that is the muse. No, I like the movie. 8.5 is what I rank it. Could have used a few things, but other than that, I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Oh, I would also change that Brianna Brown's character should get topless in it. Oh, never mind, she did.
Oh. We got that out.
Yeah.
God,
So you got your killings, you got your nudity.
Talk about freckles.
Yeah, not what I was expecting.
I've never seen freckles on a areola before.
This was one of Jeremy's higher raters.
There it is.
I don't think you've gave one a 9.
He gave a 10 for One Cut of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And 9.5 for this.
Absolutely. One Cut of the Dead was fantastic.
This is a good one.
The one thing I would change, like I said, the end was really fast. I think it's probably what it's like having sex with me. It's fun and then it ends real quick.
I agree.
Is it fun?
It's not.
Is it?
Payoff.
It's like watching a drama. It's disappointing and then you just need tissues when it's over.
Ugh. So dirty. Well, next
Justin,
one.
What's your pick?
I want you guys to pick. I have a comedy, a drama, or an action?
I'd say comedy.
Are they all Asian films?
None of them are.
Ooh, yeah.
One of them does have a few Asians in it, but it's Americanized. It stars an Asian dude and a black dude as the leads. Really cool movie. One
Comedy, or is that the action one?
That is the action. It's an action comedy.
Is it Rush Hour?
It is not.
Rush Hour 2?
It's before Rush Hour. It's what?
Let's go with the comedy. You pick comedy, I'll pick comedy.
Okay, we'll go comedy.
The comedy that I am... All right, I'm a huge fan of, or at least I was way back in the day, Will Sasso. Hilarious. So there's a movie he did called The Legend of Awesomus Maximus.
Can we change our votes? You said Will Sasso. I'm like, abort.
Hilarious.
Awesomus Maximus?
It's a raunchy comedy. Do you want to go with the action or the other ones?
What are the other ones?
Do I want to reveal it?
Yeah.
I'll just let you take do you want to take a mulligan or not?
Awesomus Maximus looks like one of those like scary movie, epic movie, like one of those.
It's supposed to be
parody
off
movies.
of 300.
300, Gladiator.
I would say a mulligan.
No, let's roll the dice. Yeah.
Drama or action? Action comedy.
Action, yeah.
All right, we're going to watch 1997's Drive. I love this movie. This movie,
Oh, is that with that?
Kadeem Harrelson and Mark Dacascos.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking of with
Not that guy.
cute guy.
Ryan Gosling.
1997.
Yeah, not Gosling's Drive. 1997's Drive. Hilarious, funny. Mark Dacascos at his prime. Like, this is probably one of the best movies. I think out of all the movies that I rented when I was at Blockbuster, growing up back in the day, this movie, along with The Crow, were probably my two most rented movies.
Nice.
You got R.A.
Oh, and it got what's her name? Brittany Murphy's in this. She doesn't probably one of her best roles that I can before her passing. So
All right.
I'll
take this over Will Sasso any day.
Yeah. Well, if you guys like this podcast or like this episode and you want to watch The Evil Within, you can find it for free on Vudu. It's $3 on YouTube to rent it. If you want
I watched it on Tubi for free.
You can watch it on Tubi for free. You can definitely pirate it on the internet like Justin does everything.
I do not. Fifth.
Yes, but his favorite letter is the C.
I don't know what that means.
Because you're a pirate. Anyway, thank you for listening tonight. We had a fun time. I hope you did too. Fellas, let's wrap it up.
Watch movies.
Yay. You got to do it again. You can't do it like that.
Watch movies.
No, don't do the exact same thing again. This guy. This fucking guy.
Movies watch.
Have a good night.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This concludes our broadcast day.